The room is quiet tonight. A small light sits on the table, and it makes a warm circle on the wood. Outside, there is a soft sound, maybe rain, maybe a far car, maybe nothing at all. In this kind of calm, a chessboard feels different. The pieces are small. They do not shout. They do not move fast. And yet, when you touch one piece, your heart can feel a little tight. Like you are stepping into a serious place. Sit with me for a moment. Let's stay here, close to this gentle light. Why does a simple game feel like a war? Why does one quiet move feel like a threat? Why do we hold our breath when a king is in danger? Why do we feel proud after a good plan? How did chess travel so far and stay so strong in so many homes? Tonight, we will learn English through a real story, in simple, clear language. We will walk through the history of chess, and we will see why it can feel like a battle, and also like hope. Imagine a long time ago, in a hot place with dusty roads and open courtyards. Many historians note that chess likely began in India, in an older game with pieces that represented parts of an army. The name often shared is chaturanga, and the word suggests 4 parts. It is like saying, this force has different kinds of power. Not only strength, but also balance. People did not have a modern board the way we do now. Records suggest the game changed shape over time, but the feeling was already there. You look at the pieces and you see a map of danger. You see lines of attack. You see safe squares and unsafe squares. You see a king who must not fall. And that is the first hidden reason chess feels like war. It asks you to protect something precious, while you also try to reach the other side. Think about that for a moment. In war stories, people protect a city. In chess, you protect one piece. But your mind treats it as a whole world. Isn't that strange? How can a small king hold so much fear inside one human chest? Now, here is the surprising part. Chess also became a way to talk about life without saying life. In many places, it was not safe to speak openly about rulers, power, and conflict, but a board is quiet. A board does not accuse anyone. So a board became a place where people could think about power, choice, and loss without saying those words out loud. Imagine a traveler carrying a small set of pieces in a cloth bag. The game moved west, many historians say, into Persia, and with that move it changed again. The Persian word shah means king. This is where many people connect the sound of check, and shah mat is often linked to checkmate, with a meaning like the king is trapped, or the king is helpless. We don't have direct details for every step of this change, but many accounts agree on the general path. The game traveled and the language traveled with it. So why does the board feel like a battlefield? Because the words themselves carry that feeling. King attack, capture trap. Even the silence has weight. Listen to this phrase. I saw it coming. Say it with me. I saw it coming. In chess, this phrase is like a shield. You do not only react, you try to see. Imagine the game continuing its journey into the Islamic world. Some accounts say chess was loved in courts and cities. But there were also times when leaders and scholars argued about it. Was it a good use of time? Did it distract people from prayer or work? Did it create bad habits, like gambling? In some places, chess was criticized. In some places, it was limited. In some places, it came back again, because people could not let it go. This is our first turning point. Chess was not always simply a game. Sometimes it was seen as a danger, and sometimes as a tool for the mind. When something is questioned like that, it often changes, it learns to survive. And chess did survive, it adapted. It moved into different kinds of spaces, palaces, markets, quiet rooms, and later, cafes. Little by little, it became part of tradition, passed from one person to another like a small flame of light. Now, let's look closer at the pieces. Today, many people feel the queen is the strongest piece. But it was not always like that. The game changed when it reached parts of Europe. Many historians note, the moves of key pieces became faster and sharper. This was another turning point, because it changed the speed of danger. It changed the feeling of the whole game. When strong pieces can move far, the board becomes a place where one mistake can become a quick fall. Why would people change the rules like that? How does a slow game become a faster one? Some accounts suggest people wanted more excitement. Others suggest players liked a style that matched new ideas in their society, new power, new movement, new stories of rulers and courts. We don't have one single reason, but we can see the result. Chess became more dramatic. It became more like a storm that can arrive in one moment. And yet, even in a storm, people still look for home. A chessboard is strange that way. It is conflict, but it is also comfort. People return to it. They set it up again. They sit across from someone they love, or someone they fear, or someone they want to understand. Imagine a parent teaching a child. The child's fingers are small. The parent's voice is soft. The pieces click lightly on the board. There is no battlefield in the room, only a table, and maybe tea, and maybe the sound of evening. Still, the child learns something real. Plans matter. Patience matters. Hope matters. And the smallest move can change everything. My friend, have you felt that before? Have you ever made one choice, and later you saw how it changed your whole week? Isn't that a kind of chess? Repeat after me. One move can change everything. Now we should ask another why. Why do we feel so much when we play? Why do we feel fear when we see a threat? Why do we feel pride when we protect our king? Because chess turns invisible thoughts into visible shapes. Your worry becomes a line of attack. Your hope becomes a safe square. Your need for home becomes a defense you build, move by move, under a steady light. And as chess spread, people carried that feeling with them. A person could leave their country, lose their old life, and still bring a board in a suitcase. They could place it in a new room, in a new city, and for an hour, they could feel the world make sense again. So, chess feels like war because it is about danger, power, and survival. But it also feels like life because it is about protection, memory, and hope. And we are just getting closer to the heart of it. Imagine a busy cafe, full of quiet talk and small sounds, cups, spoons, footsteps on stone. In places like this, chess found a new home. Not a palace now, not a royal court, but a public room where anyone could sit, watch, and learn. The board became a small stage. Two people sit, and a crowd leans in, because the battle is silent but clear. Why do people like to watch, even when they are not playing? Why does a crowd hold its breath over wooden pieces? Why does one calm face across the table feel like an enemy in a story? Because chess is not only a game of moves. It is a game of minds, and minds can clash like armies, even when hands are gentle. Over time, chess developed a shared culture. Players began to study patterns, they began to name ideas. If a term is hard, I will explain it simply. For example, an opening means the first part of the game. It is like the first steps on a road. A tactic means a short trick or quick plan. A strategy means a long plan. It is slower, like building a house. And this is another hidden reason chess feels like war. It is not only about fighting. It is about planning for tomorrow while you survive today. Imagine you are on move 10, and you already worry about move 30. Isn't that like real life? Don't we sometimes smile today while carrying fear for next week? Now, here is the surprising part. Chess does not always reward the strongest attack. Sometimes it rewards the person who can wait. In many war stories, we think the brave hero runs forward. In chess, the brave player may step back. They may protect. They may refuse a shiny capture. They may choose safety because they can see farther. Listen to this phrase, I need more time. Say it with me, I need more time. Time in chess is not only on a clock. Time is also space. Time is also choices you keep for later. When you make a move that limits your future, you feel trapped. When you keep options, you feel hope. And chess teaches this without a lecture. It teaches through feeling. You lose a piece, and you feel regret. You miss a chance, and you feel it like a small wound. You save your king, and you feel relief, like coming back home after a long day. My friends, isn't it amazing that a board can hold so many emotions? Now, let's stay with the timeline. As chess spread through Europe, the rule changes created new stories on the board. The queen became powerful, the bishops became fast, and the game could change quickly. This was a turning point, because it created a new kind of danger, sudden danger. Why does sudden danger feel so strong? Because it removes our sense of control. One moment you feel safe, and the next moment you see checkmate coming like a shadow under the light. But people adapted. They learned new defenses, they created habits, they wrote down games. Some accounts say that as printing became more common, chess ideas could travel faster. We should be cautious here. We don't have direct details for every place and time, but the general pattern is clear. When people can share ideas more easily, games grow stronger and more organized. This is our bridge moment. Older customs were not erased. They were given new meaning. The old love for quiet thinking stayed. The old feeling of battle stayed. but now it lived inside new methods books, clubs, lessons, and later newspapers and public events. Imagine a person opening a small book and seeing a chess diagram for the first time. Squares, letters, numbers. It looks like a map. They follow the moves and suddenly they understand. Oh, that's why that move mattered. It is like turning on a light in your own mind. And because of that light, chess became something you could study even when you were alone. Why do people study chess alone? Why not only play? Because chess is also a mirror. When you study, you meet yourself. You see how you think. You see how you panic. You see how you become impatient. You see how you chase quick rewards and miss deeper hope. Repeat after me. Slow thinking is powerful. Now, let's talk about the feeling of war more directly, but in a safe and respectful way. Real war is painful and cruel. Chess is not that. Chess is a symbol. It takes the shape of conflict, but it keeps people safe. It lets us touch fear and control, without real harm. So why does it still feel heavy sometimes? Because in chess, you must accept loss. You will lose pieces. Sometimes you must sacrifice. Sacrifice is a harder word, so let's make it simple. In chess, to sacrifice means you give up something now to gain something later. You trade a small pain for a bigger chance. Isn't that also part of being human? Don't we sometimes give up comfort today for a better tomorrow? Don't we sometimes choose patience so our home can be calmer later? Imagine a player offering a piece, not because they made a mistake, but because they see a hidden path. The other player takes it, and then suddenly the board changes. The easy win becomes a trap, and the crowd in the cafe makes a small sound like a wave. This is how chess tells stories. And stories are what humans remember. Over time, chess also became a way to meet across borders. People who did not share a language could still share a game. A handshake, a nod, a long silence, a smile after a clever move. Even without words, they understood each other. Why does that feel comforting? Because it creates a small home between strangers. It says we can be different and still sit at the same table. Now, one more turning point arrives much later. Machines. Many historians note that computers changed chess deeply. We should not claim exact years here, but the shift is real. Computers can calculate many lines quickly. They can find moves humans miss. That changed what people believed was best. How does that change the feeling of war? It makes the battlefield feel bigger. It makes the mystery deeper. A human mind faces not only another human mind, but also the idea of perfect calculation. Some players felt fear. Some felt excitement. Some felt hope, because computers also became teachers. Imagine a young student practicing on a small device, late at night, while the rest of the house sleeps. The screen glows like a tiny light. The student makes a move and the computer replies at once. The student learns, little by little, not only chess but calm, not only attack but patience, not only winning, but thinking clearly under pressure. And that is why chess stayed. It kept changing shape, but it never lost its heart. A quiet struggle, inside a safe space where your choices matter. Now, let's step closer to the board again, because the next part of the story is about you, the way chess pulls your emotions, and why your body can feel like it is in a real fight, even when you are just sitting at home. Imagine you are playing in a small room. Maybe it is morning. Maybe sunlight comes through a window and rests on the board. Maybe you can hear life outside, people walking, a motorbike, a bird. You sit very still. Your hand floats above the pieces, and then stops. You are not running. You are not shouting. But inside you feel something sharp, like a drum beat. Why does your heart move faster? Why do your shoulders feel tight? Why do you feel fear when the danger is only wood and paint? Why does it feel like war inside your body? Because your brain does not only see pieces. Your brain sees meaning. A king in trouble feels like your safety in trouble. A queen hanging in danger feels like losing power. A defended square feels like home. A strong plan feels like hope. Your mind turns the board into a story about survival. Even if your life is safe, this is how chess becomes emotional. It takes the shape of a battle, but it speaks in the language of human feeling. Now look closer. In chess, you cannot move everything at once. You must choose, and every choice closes some doors. That is hard for humans. We want to keep every door open. We want to keep every future possible. But chess says no, pick one. Isn't that why it feels serious? Because it reminds us of real life. Imagine a moment when you see a good move. but you are not sure. You are afraid it is a trap. You wait, you check again, you feel time pass. This waiting is not empty. This waiting is full of thoughts. And that is another hidden reason chess feels like war. It is a fight against your own confusion. Some people think chess is only logic. But many historians and players note that emotion matters a lot. If you feel angry, you rush. If you feel scared, you freeze. If you feel proud, you may become careless. If you feel calm, you can see more. So, chess becomes training. Not training for war, but training for being steady. Listen to this phrase: stay calm under pressure. Repeat after me: stay calm under pressure. Over time, chess also became a tradition inside many families and friendships. A board appears during holidays. A board appears during long evenings. Two people talk, then stop talking, then talk again. The game becomes a gentle rhythm, like rain on a roof. Why do people return to it again and again? Because it creates a safe space for struggle. It lets us practice courage without danger. It lets us lose without being destroyed. It lets us win without hurting anyone. And it gives us a small light to follow. The feeling that clear thinking can bring hope. My friend, think about the phrase check. It is a warning. It says, look, you are in danger. In real life, we also need warnings. Not to scare us, but to wake us up. To help us protect what matters. And then think about checkmate. It is the end of the road. The king cannot escape. In chess, that can feel painful. But it also feels clean. It has a strange honesty. Why does a clear ending feel powerful? Because many parts of life do not end clearly. We carry questions. We carry regrets. We carry missing words. Chess gives a clean ending, and that can feel like relief. Even when we lose, it says, this story is finished. You can breathe now. Imagine finishing a game and sitting back. The room is the same. The world is the same. But inside, you feel changed. You saw your mistakes. You saw your courage. You saw your hope rise and fall. And you are still here. You can set the pieces again. You can start again. That start again feeling is one of the most human things we have. So when people say chess feels like war, we can understand them, but we can also look deeper. Chess is not real war. It is a way to hold the idea of conflict in a safe hand. It is a way to see the darkness without living in it. It is a way to find light through thinking and patience. Imagine the long road chess traveled through many languages, many borders, many homes. It changed rules. It survived criticism. It gained new tools like books and machines. And still the board stayed simple. 64 squares, 2 colors, and a quiet challenge. Why did it stay? Because it speaks to a deep part of us. The part that wants to protect home. The part that wants to believe in hope. And the part that wants to understand danger without being consumed by it. Now, let's stay here for a moment, with one more gentle practice. Say it with me. I can think before I move. In chess, that sentence can save you. In life, it can also save you from sharp words, from fast anger, from fear that pushes you too quickly. It is not magic. It is just a small habit. But small habits are like small pieces. They can change everything. Imagine teaching someone chess for the first time. You show them how the pieces move. You show them how the king must be protected. And then you watch their eyes change. They start to see patterns. They start to feel the story. And maybe, without knowing it, they start to build a stronger mind, one that can hold pressure and still keep hope. And maybe that is the warmest truth. Chess feels like war because it holds danger, but it becomes a kind of kindness when it teaches us to be patient, careful, and brave in a quiet way. The light on the table is still warm. The room is still calm. If you ever feel the world is too loud, you can come back to this simple board. Not to escape life, but to practice facing it with steady hands, with a clear mind, and with hope.